Hi, this is Arielle Live TV, live every Thursday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Today we have a wonderful guest, and of course I have the co-host, but he will be my guest today also. And I want to introduce both of them. Steve, introduce yourself. Of course, attorney Steve. Go ahead.
You said it already. I'm Steve Schiffman, entertainment lawyer, business lawyer, journalist, and host, co-host. You're the big boss.
I like that. I'm always a big boss. But anyway, this is Mike Jones. Mike Jones, we'll come back on you. Introduce yourself, Mike, and we'll come back on that.
Okay, my name is Mike Anthony Jones. I'm a screenwriter, film producer. I do television content as well, working on several television shows right now, which are my premier projects currently besides the feature motion picture that we spoke about.
Awesome. Let me introduce my co-host first. I know I've been bringing Steve here from, almost for a month now, right? Been a month now. Anyway, he's not just a co-host with me. He's also an attorney, and of course, he is one of my editor-in-chief of the magazine that we're trying to release. He is also a former still a journalist, and he works for the UN, of course, in New York, right? You've been in what television that you've been in a journalist and their host?
Oh, most recently was for the BBC World Service when they had the shooting here. Remember that unfortunate instance? Same as I got a call through a contact for Irish National Television, Ireland National Television. They wanted live feed as well with having here. It was really shocking. You may recall the shooting using like a near machine gun from the 32nd floor of the hotel.
It's pretty shocking.
And not only that, the many people who got killed and injured, over 500 people got injured. So that's part of the experience. Also, I used to cover the United Nations in New York for the British media. But also, I produce programs in the Caribbean. So it's all part of the same genre, if you will. It's something of entertainment. We have to have everything, and it's interesting. Things have changed, though.
All right, so that's Steve. He will be my co-host here in my television. But anyway, we also want to do a cooking show for him. And if you're interested to cook with him, then we would like to produce that. Now let's go back to Mike Anthony Jones. You're not just Mike Anthony Jones, you're also a musician. How long have you been doing that?
Music is my first love, and been doing that almost all my life, ever since I could remember. Probably in my early teens I started, and got serious by the time I was 16 or 17, and really put my heart and soul into it, and it was just a great companion for a long time. I had a very powerful band in Chicago very early on in my career, so I toured a lot, always wrote original material, and have played just about every genre of music.
Are you the lead singer, or your guitarist, or the pianist, or
yes,
you're the lead singer
and the guitarist and the drummer.
Do you know my rules here? When there's a singer, I let them sing.
Oh wow!
So do you still perform?
I haven't over the last 4 or 5 years as much. I really miss it. I'm probably going to get back to stage performing this year because it's really, there's nothing like it. But TV and content has really become very lucrative, and it's real exciting. When I got into the motion picture business, that was kind of like jumping from the frying pan into the fire. But
let's talk about your music first, because I'm going to go to that.
Oh sure. Well, the music is really, I've written over 500 original songs.
Wow, give me one that is popular.
Yesterday 1903 is a very popular song in the motorcycle community, which is the breadth of my career. The substance of my career is laid upon that, because in the early 90s, when I first got into the motorcycle community as a movement, I met a lot of very powerful and important people, and all my songs were positive motorcycle image. So I was in a motion picture with Mike Madsen and Charlie Sheen. I wanted to get some of my stuff at then. But, the people that I met really were looking to bring the image of motorcycling to its proper place, which is, politicians and very wealthy people would ride, and people who I associated with were very high profile people, and they didn't fit this stereotype of these chain toting thugs, and so it was my mission to really tell the stories of people who I knew that were very wonderful and had made great contributions to the motorcycle community and the community at large. So that really played out very well for me.
You think you
So-
got like a rap, a bad rap? I mean, I can tell from
A
the
good
1950s
rap, yeah.
and
Yeah,
1960s.
sure.
Hard,
Well, after World
bikers.
War II, in terms of the motorcycle community, I mean, the guys came back from war, and I got to tell you, man, you make it back from war, you can't just sit on the front porch. You know what I mean?
Right, boring life.
Yeah, so they wanted something to do, and riding a motorcycle was about as close to getting on the edge as you could, and I can vouch for that.
So that Easy Rider genre is still valid today.
Well, I think Easy Rider didn't do any help for the community image, and so but my music really did.
So your music is not hard rock. It's just like contemporary. Is that,
Well,
is that how you call it?
say that because the collection is very large, and because the community is very diverse, culturally as well, and racial as well. So I really had to get this blend really down. So I kind of just couched it as being Americana. So there would be some really good driving hard rock stuff, and it's mixed with blues. I live next door to the
Hard
famous
rock,
Kingston.
you go like that?
Well, of course I do. You got to give it a little stage show, but it really played out well. When I left heavy rock and stuff behind, I became a
It's
solo
like
artist.
what's his name? Oz. What's his name? Oz.
But for example, Born to Be Wild, that type of music, that's
Yeah,
really
of course.
hard rock.
I mean, the great
Steppenwolf,
Yeah,
things of that
the
sort.
great stuff. But I kind of fell down in the middle to like a Johnny Cougar Mellencamp, Bruce Springsteen, Bryan Adams type of
Oh,
sound.
I like Bryan Adams.
Yeah, but very
pretty cool.
Americana rock and roll, roots rock and roll. My roots were like blues, Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and that kind of stuff, and Johnny Cash and Hank Williams. Really American stuff, and then just kind of put a little gasoline in there and soup it up a little bit.
A combination of St. Louis and Chicago, since you're from there.
That's right, and that's a really good analogy, because it's rock and roll.
So where is your group now?
I'm not my group that I played with like 5 years ago when I was still doing stage performances and touring along the motorcycle circuit. I went into the film thing really heavy, so I sort of left the music behind for a while.
So you left your music, now you moved to film. What take you to film? What feelings to that? Why did you leave the music then go to film?
Well, you never really leave it. The music is part of your soul, so it will always be with you. But the thing about visual media, if you have all of these talents and all of these tools, is that you can blend them all in one. So my first movie was a motorcycle movie. Go figure. And so
What's the title of that motorcycle movie?
it's called Born to Ride, which was not the original title. And
What's the original title?
The original title was Easy Rider 2.
Oh, okay. Born to Ride and Easy Rider 2.
Yeah, and it went through a
yes.
couple of transitions, and we found out when that has a really long history of that project, and we actually had Dennis Hopper available to do it at the time. But we also found out that project initially was plagued with a lot of challenges and sort of a lot of hurt feelings and stuff, and it didn't have the kind of panache that we wanted to, and it was very, very expensive to get the title Easy Rider
License,
2.
for the
That was $1.5
license.
million just for the
You pay for the name.
yeah,
That's why.
but however, it would have been spectacular just the same because the script is phenomenal. But it got watered down as all Hollywood films do.
Yeah,
You
of
get it
course,
over and they
of
take your
course,
first movie and blah blah blah. But it was a real experience, and in terms of why it was music and then going on. Motion pictures is a really spectacular event to participate in and to complete. Let alone, so that my first movie had major motion picture stars, a major director, unheard of for someone in their first film, and then it went global. It was a worldwide distribution, which was also, it sort of put me on the map, and so in terms of my music, I'll always have it. I'll always be able to play. I still write, but when you write a song, it's like a little movie. It's a story. But when you write a movie,
Right.
it's really a story.
Let me ask you this. On movie production, in the earlier days when you did, for example, motorcycle movies, they actually had the real motorcycles. Is what you saw, is what you did.
Sure.
Today it's all computer enhanced. Do you find that's a disadvantage
Yeah.
of really trying to get the experience of being on a motorcycle or that type
You
of genre?
bet. You bet. is for the people that actually ride can spot it a mile away. Okay, and that's why you really have to be authentic with this
Right.
community. You can't fake it too much. They're really doing a good job with bringing a hard guy feel from the Sons of Anarchy. But I don't think the image of that television show, though it's very successful, does anything for us. You know.
Let me ask you this.
Let's hold to that talk.
Sure.
Let's go back to the second segment. We'll be right back.